9:45.
Okay, it's going. Huh?
And just so you know the time.
Oh, great. Thank you, dear.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you got
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah, okay.
Okay.
So I'm recording now.
Okay.
All right. Hey, Kat. I have a special treat for you today.
You do a special treat.
Yeah. So I have a friend. His name's John, the shaman. And I met John, when I met you, God, like 3 years ago, when I was diagnosed with cancer.
Yep.
And I was having like a horrible time in my life. And John came in and helped me with everything. So he taught me how to breathe again. Like I was afraid of dying. And actually that's why I called him, to see if he could help me with my fears. I was afraid of everything, and for sure I was gonna die. So I thought, you know, if I'm gonna die, I just want to like figure out how to die happy.
Yeah, yes,
And,
yes, that's the way you should be.
That's kind of what I want to talk about today, because he really helped me. And then I started coming more alive, and I was like,
You've come alive.
I know. And then I kind of want to talk about so he has a really cool, like, shamans don't believe, they believe in death differently than we do. So I'm gonna let him kind of talk about, it's helped me a lot. And then also, since I've met you, you're also so special to me. And Tammy and I, you know, we worry about losing you. So I want him to help all of us, like how we cannot be afraid of death, and like, you know, when death does happen, because it is gonna happen one day for all of us, like how we can move on, and like you lost your wife, but like how they're to teach us like the energy's always around, so we don't like suffer with grief our whole life. Because I'm the kind of person, like I lost my dad and my grandpa when I was little, so I never had that love from a man. And so I think some weird crazy way, like you were brought to me to teach me about self-love, and it's just a weird kind of love. I can't explain it. And same with Tammy, you know, like you've really helped both of us. And so I just want to like have this on film for the rest of my life.
Good.
And do you want to say anything? Otherwise, he's gonna talk. But if you want to say anything,
You don't want to say a
Chip
thing?
in when.
because you're a teacher, you're intuitive, you're a shaman too.
Well, it's a pleasure that both of them came into my life. You know, I really didn't necessarily want a caregiver or something like that, but David thought I should have somebody, and he picked Tammy, and couldn't have picked a better one.
Yeah.
And then I started doing exercise and met Emily, and continued on, and I've had nothing but blessings from both of them.
And when our first class we had, he told me, do you remember telling me this? You said, I don't want to wake up tomorrow. Sometimes I just don't want to wake up.
Yeah.
He wanted to give up. And I felt that way too when I was unhappy in life. I had everything I could have wanted. I had a husband, 3 kids, the White House, but something in me just, I wasn't happy, and I didn't know like what was missing. Like I never knew myself. So unfortunately it took me getting cancer and
To
it was
bring
like
it around.
to my big wake-up call. And I know everyone has something in their life that happens. So like I want to use this time today for us to share with our friends, like, you know, when life gets hard and something happens, that you should never give up, because like, you know, I hit rock bottom, and he saw me. I was ready. I was like, I'm done. Just give me the morphine button and I'm ready to go. But you know, I found people like you guys all, and people show up at certain times to keep you going. And now I look back 3 years ago, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if I only had these people in my life, I would have never experienced this. So for me, I really want to help, especially young girls, especially young women who struggle. Because I never had a voice. I was too afraid to talk. Like, how can we help them? Like, this is normal. This is all part of life. It's going to happen, right? Sometime. But how do we get through it? And when we do lose someone, not for a long time, but like Ken or my dad or his wife, like how do we call upon the spirits to like be there for us?
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly.
maybe you can explain to everyone
Yeah.
what you think about death and all that fun
Yeah.
stuff.
So shamans, there's like three concepts at play here with death, and I was remembering the you even had that party where you invited all of your friends to just like celebrate the end of your life, basically, right?
Yeah.
And the tricky thing was, being the shaman that I still have the video on my YouTube channel of the thing we did,
Yeah.
because I did this ceremony that to shamans actually clears away the death that stalks you. So shamans don't see death as the way Westerners do, where it's like something, an accident, a disease, you know, something takes your body and you're dead. Shamans see it more from the soul level, and they see that death is something that takes your soul little by little till you're maybe more dead than alive, but your body's still here, you know. And so it's more like clearing that death so you can be claimed by life fully, right? And so that's what we did, and it sort of shifted everything. As far as, you know, when somebody dies that we love, and we miss their physical form, again, from the level of the soul, the thing that makes the person is still there even after their physical body's gone.
Sure.
And so you essentially have kind of access to that part, their spirit, right? Their consciousness. You can still talk to it. Sometimes they can give you signs, you know, little butterflies or something like that, or something interesting, a song. So you can still kind of engage with that person's consciousness. But maybe even more importantly is that what anybody represents to us is an experience. So Ken, you had an experience of your wife, right? This woman for, you know, decades,
71
right?
years.
71 years, right? And it was a wonderful set of experiences,
It
of
was.
friendship and love and all the fun you had together, right?
And troubles.
Right? All of it. Well, theater has to have pain too. It can't be all pleasure. So it's all good, but you know, right? And then she, you know, she died, right? I think it was what, cancer was it as well?
Cancer.
Yeah. You know, but so that was it. You thought that's it. What she represented in your life as the experience of all of those things, the friendship, the love, the fun, the painful things. You thought it was over. You thought that's it. How could I ever have that again? She's gone. But what shamans recognize is that the experiences can come to you in all kinds of different forms. So it's not just limited to that one person. So something leaves you. It could be a house. It could be someone you love. Any sort of loss or death of something sort of physically represented in your life does not mean that what the experience that was giving you is gone. And then now you could say, look, the experiences you're having with these two, right, are kind of similar to the ones you had with your wife, right? And so that's just the proof, right? In other words, you're showing us that if you don't give up, if you just choose to wait for the universe to deliver the same experiences in perhaps some other form, it will, you know, but so it's not completely over.
For me, like, I feel like I never had, like, no one ever taught me, love, or I think it's a feeling. I never had, like, a connection. Love can be in all forms, like a friendship.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be physical, right? But
Right.
I feel like I have a special love with Ken. I have a special love with Tammy. Like, we both have, like, I don't know how to explain it.
See,
Does
isn't
you have that too?
Yeah.
I have that. I do.
Like,
yes.
we're best friends, and I can't explain it.
See,
So-
isn't that neat?
but
Because
I
you thought you weren't going to ever have that experience,
never.
right? So that was when you hadn't even had yet, and you
Right.
were almost ready to leave.
So do you think that's Ken's here to teach me a lesson?
Just no, it's just to show. Well, in a way, yes, but to show you like there's always opportunities for new experiences in life. It's never completely over. You know what I mean? Like, even though you lived and you survived your cancer, right? And your book and everything, cancer saved my life. It's like there's
But
always,
I almost gave up though.
right.
I was that close.
That's the thing, right? But
You're not the type to give up.
Huh?
You're not
Right,
the type.
that's true.
Yeah,
You're
but
not
you
the
didn't
type to give
know,
up.
you didn't know me
Inner
3
strength.
years ago.
Yeah.
Huh?
Inner strength.
That's what it is.
But what was it? What was that like? My calling, like
Life wants to live.
But I had no friends. Like everyone gave up on me, and
Right.
and I just was like, I can't do this anymore. And then just I fought for my kids, and I fought because I knew, like, no matter what people said about me and judged me and criticized me, like I knew like I was a good person inside.
Yes.
So I was just, I don't think I ever knew who I was. Does that sound weird?
So you
I was
learned,
like faking my like.
Right.
I didn't like, right? No, it's true.
You learned who you were, and
It took me 42 years to figure it out, but
and you learned that life will always bring you surprises. It will always bring something new. You can count on that. Otherwise, we would have stopped doing this 200,000 years ago because we would have seen everything.
Right.
We've all lived a life of 80 years. We've seen everything. Why come back? Well, because there's always something new, right? Always a new experience available. Always new possibilities, right? That we can never even know. Even yourself, 90 years old, right? And you're thinking,
no,
"Oh,
94.
94, okay, well, you only look 90. You look,
I'm saying 60.
I was going to say,
60.
you don't look a
Feeling
day over,
70
you don't
maybe.
look a day over 60.
But like,
But
how do
you
some
see what
people,
I'm
like,
saying?
I fear death, or I did.
Mm.
Not so much now that I had cancer, but do you fear death? Yeah, we all do.
It's normal
I did that in '84. I had a
Mm.
triple bypass,
Oh, wow.
and I did think I was going to come out of it. You know,
Mm.
my father and mother died both of heart attacks, so I had an MRI, and it showed something was doing. So I decided to do it before would have a heart attack.
Sure.
But I still said to my son and to my daughter, I don't know if I'm going to come out of this. So
Mm.
I had really in some way given up,
Yeah, amazing.
but I'm still here.
Life wants to live.
Right.
And that's the thing. And if you make it through those experiences, you can be sure that new life experiences will find you. That it is worth it. It's worth living.
It is worth living.
That's the bottom line. No matter how hard it seems, it's always worth
Living.
living. Yeah, if you can, right? If you can make it. I mean,
The pain, the suffering.
Right.
I think we'll get through it.
yeah. And survivalists know that the key to surviving, like if they're stuck out in the woods or some strange situation, that 10% is knowing how to rub sticks together, 90% is wanting to live.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So a person who's trying to survive, if they don't have that will, if they don't want to live, then that's going to be the death that stalks them more than the bugs and the and the animals and the.
So you want to live, right?
Oh, well, sure, I want to live.
Me too.
And the key to wanting to live is what I'm trying to say, is recognizing that there's things that your mind doesn't know and can never know is possible, that the universe will deliver, that makes it worth living.
So you
Just
just
like-
have to trust.
You have to trust. You have to trust and have faith. You just have to know that if I live, I'm sure there will be something that comes about that I'm glad I did. And you know, that's
Keeps
what I was
you
saying.
going,
And
keeps you alive, right?
94, you know, or at 84 even, you thought, well, I'm not sure this is it. But it's like,
That's true.
but now you've got, you know,
I've got
who
this
wouldn't
one.
want to live?
Now we're going to get to 100.
Exactly.
So I'm inspired. I'm inspired to write. I've had someone today wrote in and they said, "You have to write a book about Ken. It's going to be a bestseller." So I thought, "Oh my gosh, let's do it. We need to write a book." But and she titled it like about living life like to the fullest or something. So I'm thinking like, you know, what's the lesson that we can teach people and all of us? Like, are you really living like today? Like, do you wake up every day and live your life to the
Gratitude.
fullest? Do you live? Are you even living the life that you want? Like, are you just stuck in a life because you think you have to be there? So, what would you say? I'm just curious because we're going to write some chapters. So, what would you say to people? You know, honestly, like, if you're not happy living, sometimes maybe it's better off if you weren't alive, you know, because you're already miserable, like you were already dead. So you have to make
If-
the choice.
If I was that way, I would want to go. you
Me
know.
too.
But I'm not that way. I'm always looking for the future. You know, it's always there.
You always see the brighter side.
Always see the brighter side. And the most important thing is when you lay down on bed and you know that she was there, you put your arm over, the love comes.
Yeah.
And that keeps you going.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
And then you would say you would reach over and do a pat.
Yeah.
Yeah, pat, pat.
Sometimes she reaches over and gets to me, in my dream or whatever it is. Yep.
It's great. It's beautiful. Yeah. The memories are always there.
Memory's always there. The good and the bad. Because it wasn't all good.
Yeah.
That makes it more beautiful.
Exactly.
So maybe that's another lesson too, right? Is like, it's really easy to give up on people.
It
you
is.
know?
Uh-huh.
So how do you know when you, like, how hard do you have to fight? And like, how do you know when it's right or it's not right? 'Cause it didn't work out for me, but maybe I didn't, like, how do you know when to, like, does that make sense?
It does.
Well, when it's involving another person, it involves their choice as well. So it's hard when one chooses and the other doesn't, obviously, right, in that case. But the idea of never giving up is still the idea of allowing yourself to be claimed by life, allowing yourself to receive what might be brought to you, And that's it. And it's those great moments that are still lie ahead. There's always new moments, new experiences. So it's allowing that. And then, yeah, if two people, one person isn't wanting to participate in that, then discernment is fine. Leave that form, that person, and find the experiences of love and relationship and that you really want somewhere else, somebody else. Yeah. So you're not giving up in that case. That's not giving up. That's discernment. That's choosing I'd rather be here than here, right? With this person than this kind of person. But never giving up on life as a result of any of that, because life will always bring you.
I think that's what Tam and I together, because we don't want to give up on life.
Yeah.
We're glad we're here.
And you're such an
I'm
inspiration.
glad we're giving love and something out instead of being in that way.
Yeah, like I hit rock bottom. I got cancer, thought I was gonna die. You lost your wife. You were sad, and then had I not chosen to keep going and fighting, like I would have never met Ken. I would have never met Tammy. I would have never met Karen. I would have never met you. And so all these crazy things happen for a reason. That you have to trust the universe.
Yeah.
That when you're in the moment of struggle and suffering, you feel like, why is this happening to me? You have a little pity party for yourself, and then you can't see the light at the end. And someone kept telling me, this too shall pass, this too shall pass. And I'm like, when's this gonna pass? Like, how much longer do I need to suffer here?
You really went
But
through
then,
it.
but you have to do the work too. You can't just, can't just sit there and wait for it to happen. Don't you think you have to, like,
you have to.
you have to get out there and like better yourself? And I took classes online, and I studied with John. I went to a lot of therapy, and then all of a sudden I was like, I can do this. Like, I one day at a time. Like, how do you do it? You just stand on your own 2 feet, and you just get up and you start moving 1 foot forward. Not always easy. Had a lot of tears.
One
Yep,
brave
a lot of
day at a
tears.
time.
But now, like, I'm gonna use my situation to help other people. You're using your situation to help me to help other people. And like, why I don't know if you can even answer this, but like, I've had a lot of self-doubts. What's that negative voice in my head that's always says, like, you're unlovable, you're not good enough. And like, when I'm with Ken, like, I can be myself on camera. Like, I don't ever go on camera. Before, I was like super shy. You would never know that about me. But I was really shy.
I never know that you were
Yeah.
Super shy. Like, I would freeze, like, I would not say a word. I think it was like my inner child. Like, I had a lot of fears. I didn't speak. And now, like, I found my voice, so now I don't stop talking.
Good.
But then, like, with Ken, I'm like, I don't freaking care, like, what people think anymore. Like, I'm just gonna live my life, because this is my life, no one else's life. And how do you, like, it's not that I don't care. I want to enjoy my life and stop worrying about what people like think of me or judge
Yeah,
me. And if they
yes.
don't want to watch me, they can turn the channel. They don't have to watch it. They don't want to listen, like they can choose to not listen.
Yeah.
And the friends that come into my life, I'd rather have 4 friends than 50 friends. Like I don't need a number of fake followers on Instagram. Like I want people that actually care about me.
Right.
Real.
Like that's what I want.
That's important.
And you've been a huge inspiration, and I've talked about this since the
It's
day
funny
I
'cause
met
I
you.
don't feel
I
inspiring.
know, but that's the thing. That's the thing, though, because that's why your mind starts to go.
Yeah.
Because you will touch and inspire someone, and they don't always acknowledge it. They may not always notice to call you and say, you know, because of your video and what you've been through and what you did, I did this, this, and this, and I want to thank you. You know, but you can be sure it's happening. That's the thing. It's happening, and even if one person that's been touched by you in all of this and I know there have been many. I have. I mean, I'm one. Yeah. I mean, it's huge. It's amazing. But then it ripples. So that one person's talking to someone else and shares a little bit of the wisdom that you've shared in your story, and then that's 50 people, 100 people, and so it doesn't take much. It only takes that you did it and one person heard it.
And I feel like I think that's why Ken honestly like came into my life, because I've been so afraid all my life, and I compare myself to like a lot of other people,
Sure.
and then when I met Ken, I was like, oh, like this is different. Like we're exercising and you know, and a lot of people like post things of themselves, which is great,
Yeah.
you know. But I don't have that perfect Pilates body, and I you know, so I don't like. I don't want to post
Right.
myself in bikinis.
Right.
And then when I'm a Ken, I'm like, I'm just gonna do what I do, and that's make people laugh. Like people don't know that about me, but you know, people who really know me, like I'm kind of a quirky little, like funny little bunny rabbit. You know, like I like to make people laugh. That's what brings me most joy.
Yeah.
And Ken is my biggest fan, so that's why I'm always like, come on, Ken, we're gonna do this.
Right.
But he like, it's like nothing else matters in life.
Yeah.
And so in that moment I'm living, that's all that matters. I don't think about my bills I gotta pay. I just think about making Ken happy so that Ken can make you happy.
Right.
And I think Ken is my gift. He's like my vehicle to speak. Does that make
That's
sense?
cool. Totally. Cool.
I walk into the exercise downstairs, and I got to climb the steps like I did here.
Right.
You know, as each step I take, I said, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to do this? Do I really want to do this? But I get to the top, and then I said, maybe I will. And I get the other a little bit farther. Yeah, I will. You know,
Each of those steps is what we call an act of power. Every time you
It
ask
is.
that question, you
yeah,
step
because I'm
anyway.
holding on.
That's huge.
Do I gonna make it?
That's amazing.
He's like, do I want to
Wow.
do it? I don't want to come today. He goes, I'll come for you.
Yeah,
What
that's
you?
cool.
What do you always say? It always like melts my heart.
What do I always say?
You say you make my life worth living. Say it.
Say it again.
Say what you always say. You say you make my life worth living.
You make my life worth living.
He always tells
She
me
does.
I make his life worth living, and so
Yeah.
that's why I wake up every day, even when I feel like quitting my job because I don't have a full schedule. I'm like, oh, no one's coming because I'm not a good teacher. Like it's these negative
Yeah.
voices in my
Yeah.
head.
Critic.
Do you
Right.
guys have that?
Yeah.
Come on, yes.
Yeah. Totally.
We all have
Yeah, I
that.
think we
Yeah.
all have. We beat ourselves up.
I'm like, maybe I should go
Others
get a
aren't.
corporate job and just give up,
Yeah.
but I don't give up because of you know? And I'm like, what else would I do? Like, I don't see myself inside an office, like, you know, that wouldn't work. So I just keep going, and I keep trying to turn off that voice in my head that says, you suck, like, you can't write a book, like, you're never going to be good enough.
Yeah.
And I struggle with that,
Yeah.
but I think we all do.
And we do, and that just comes from comparison, from
Yeah, why do
comparing,
we
which
do
you
that?
can't do, right? Because, I mean, if I try to compare myself to Ken, I might as well just jump off. I'm not even. It's too late. I'm 54. It's already. You know, I'm gonna have to step it up here to get anywhere close to it. So you can't do that. You got to know that there's somebody who's, like, you know, makes your life worth living, and there, no matter who you are, and you're that to somebody else, no matter who you are. And again, it only needs to be one. It doesn't need to be 10 million followers. That's the
Right.
point.
So
is-
it could just be a friend, like someone,
Yeah,
like when
it could
I
be anybody.
had cancer and I was
Yeah.
going through a divorce and cancer, it was like the worst time of my life. it was like one person I'll never forget, and she texted me every day, and she said, "Hello, beautiful," every day, and then she's like, "This too shall pass." But if it weren't for her text message, like I don't even know, like, why? What's my purpose here? Like,
No,
why even keep fighting? Like when like I
Right.
lost all my friends because they judge me, and they don't know what's inside my head. They don't know what I'm going through, and you know, it made me feel like a horrible person. But then after talking to other people, like we all have struggles. So people who don't struggle, like they just, I don't think they feel on a deeper level. I don't
Well,
know.
I
how
think
to explain
everybody
that.
does. Even the person with 20 million followers means that there's about 7 billion people who aren't following them. So it's like, you know, what difference does it make? You know what I mean? Or out of the 10 million that love them, there might be 10 million that don't like them. So you can't, everybody's there for someone else, and particularly the way they are. Like you know, if 100 million people got to know you the way I do, then I know at least 100 million would love you.
So not
right?
everyone's gonna like you.
It's not everyone's going to like
Yeah.
you or resonate and or even have eyes to see who you really are. And you just, but there will be a lot that do. And out of the one text you got, there's 10 others that maybe were too shy to text you
Yes.
and tell you. So you could be sure there's way more that like you than you even know. And
Or they don't know
that's-
how to tell you. They don't
No,
know how. They don't
yeah, it's
have the
just-
words. and so they
everybody's
don't
the
know
same.
that. They can say it to someone else, but they don't know how to say it to you directly.
I've been very fortunate to have 3 children, and they give a lot of love, and over the period of years. This is my oldest at 73, and another one at 66, and one at 62. So they've all cussed me out and
Cussed
loved
you
me
out?
and
Yeah.
love me at the same time. You know? All the memories they have of what Dad do now.
Because we're not perfect.
yeah.
No.
We
it's
want
the
to be,
past.
but
It's all in the
yeah,
past.
gosh, life is hard. Yeah. But you forgive.
What do you think the title of our book should be?
Living.
Living. What's the subtitle? It has to have a subtitle.
It's hard.
Oh! I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to do any fun things, or what anything you want to?
Dance? You gonna dance?
No.
I danced tonight. I danced.
I'm tired.
I danced Sunday.
Living is hard. Okay.
No, it's
No.
what would
What's
be
the
another
first
subtitle?
chapter?
That's the-
Yeah.
Love.
What would be a better subtitle than that? Because it's not always hard, right?
No, it's not always hard. No.
Sometimes it's.
I say believe.
What would you say about believing? That's going to be a chapter.
That's good.
Oh, that's going to be a chapter.
Okay, so everything.
In your ability to live a comfortable and good life, and have many friends
It's nice.
that look
Yeah.
at you and welcome you when you see them. You have a friend. You know, we think they're friends. They look at us, you know, and kind of push away or something like that. But if you have a friend as a friend, you know it.
That's a good one. Isn't everyone your friend, Ken?
No.
You have enemies?
Yeah,
I don't see
I
that.
got an Emily.
Enemies.
Enemies.
Not
And Tammy. I don't care.
Something that this is kind of like something that was inspired me to write a book, our book, but for my daughter and my kids, because there was no guide, like a survivor's guide. You know, when you're young, right?
That's right.
And that no one tells you like life's gonna be hard, like Ken said, and it's gonna be like, okay, you get married in 7 years, like it's gonna be rough, you know, and then 7-year itch, right?
Yeah.
And then this is gonna happen, and but I think if there was like a map or like so that people are prepared, so when it does happen, like you breathe, like okay, you're gonna be on a boat, it's gonna get really bumpy and rocky. Sometimes you're gonna feel like you're drowning, and someone's gonna throw a life vest over and save you, but really in the end, you can only save yourself.
Yeah. Did they do that when you were in the military? Did they tell you what might happen when you were on on your missions and things like that?
Of course they do.
Yeah,
Of course
so they do there,
Yeah.
right? They tell you, look, this is, you're going to be flying over, and they're going to be anti-aircraft and this and that, and here's what you, yeah, same thing, right? Kind of
It is, it
a
is.
manual for life, right?
Well, you know things can happen, and,
Yeah.
and that's what you have to take.
You have to know.
Every
what to
time you drive a car down the street,
Yeah.
you don't know.
right.
Well, it's like what I wake up and I
Helps to
started
know.
thinking like I'm afraid to die, I'm afraid to die, and then my surgeon said, I was like, you know what? Like I'm already dead. Like I'm not even living my life. I'm 38 years old and I sit in my closet and I cry every day because I'm like embarrassed and ashamed of who I am. And you know, no one's listening to me, and that's all I needed was a person to listen to me, not tell me what to do, what I was doing wrong, but just to listen. Like, okay, I have fears, like I've been afraid, and I've never spoke my voice, but once you get it out, I wrote a lot on paper, and it really healed me. It was healing for me just to write. Maybe for you it's gardening. But when it was, you said believe, all it took was one person to believe in me, to not give
Yeah.
up. I mean, I really wanted to give up. I went to the psych ward. I was gonna like take the bottle. I was like,
Take them all.
and I went there, and they're like, you're not crazy.
You're hurting.
I was hurt. I was crazy. Someone said I was crazy. I won't say names, but mentally ill, bipolar. I was just sad, and they said you're having an episode of depression, where I had post-traumatic stress disorder from my whole life, having cancer, losing my father to suicide, my grandpa. I just didn't know how to speak, and then I wasn't crazy. I was just like sad, and it's okay to be sad and cry. And then when I spoke, and someone heard me, and they listened, and they didn't judge me, and they said, "There's nothing wrong with you." I was like, "There isn't? Are you sure? Like, can I have that in writing? There's nothing wrong with me." I started living. And then I was like, you know what? This is my life. I got cancer. I'm going to rebuild my life. And I chose how I wanted the story to end. So I started writing the new chapter of my story. And I started meeting new people. And for me, that's what I want to give back and help other people. And then I met you, and you're the silver lining of the story. And you're going to help, no, I'm serious. Like, you're going to help other young women, teach them about self-love, because it's not about depending on a man. Like, I always searched for love. Like, I needed attention. I was told I had a love addiction. Like, I searched for affection from men. Like, are you going to like me? Because I think probably it's my father. Like, I felt abandoned. And that didn't work for me, you know, that got me divorced. And, you know, I made mistakes in my marriage. I
Who
wasn't
didn't? Who
perfect,
didn't
but
make
I was
mistakes?
judged for it because no one, like, could hear my side of the story. So I was judged, and I was always the bad person. But when the people that heard my whole story, they could understand, like, my actions or why I did things. And, you know, I was shaming myself all the time, and that doesn't help. That's the worst. So as soon as I started to have compassion for myself is when I really started healing, and like loving that little girl inside that I
Yeah.
gave up on.
Yeah.
I don't want, like, I want to teach it for my daughter. Like, now, like, don't ever let a man control you, or don't rely on a man to take care of you. Sorry, Ken, but if I had met you, like, it would have been, you're only 40 years older than me. But, you know, like, we're not as lucky as your wife was. Like, Tammy and I live in a day and age where men are different, you know?
Well, it took up till the last 10 years of our marriage, because she was always giving to somebody else as they giving to herself. She'd always put herself out there and not love herself.
That's like me.
In the last 10 years of her life, she started loving herself and became a more full woman.
Yeah.
That's very important.
But how like, see, that's what I need. Like, maybe that's what you're here to teach me, her, because I still don't even love myself. Like, how, what
Why is it so hard?
I don't know why.
It's a process.
Huh?
It's a
Yeah.
process.
Well, why was it hard for your wife?
It was hard for my wife.
Maybe
Took
it's
her
hard for a woman.
took her almost 60 years.
But what made her all of a sudden, like, shift?
I don't have no idea
Yeah.
what caused, but she did.
You could see a change.
Oh yeah. You Karen could see it too.
I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait that long, you know.
Baby steps.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, my whole thing now, like, is learning to have compassion for myself and having, like, a team around me, like other women, like, you know, it's like, and just being honest, like, you know what, I'm not perfect. Like,
Transparent.
who wants to be perfect? Perfect's
not.
It
boring.
doesn't even exist.
You're not.
Perfect. That's perfect.
Like, I was watching American Idol tonight, and Katy Perry, someone was singing, and like, it wasn't perfect, but she's like, perfect's boring. You know, like, who wants to be perfect?
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Yeah.
If everything was perfect, there'd be no trees, none of this would exist. There would be no...
And living, like the whole topic of living, like I fear all the time dying. I don't anymore now. I really got cancer. I literally saw the white light. I told you, I went and saw a Chinese healer, and he like put his hands on my head and we did this whole like process, and boom, like I had this weird, like I hit a wall, and I saw colors, purple, greens, lavender, red, like flashes, and then it was white and silent. It freaked me out. I started crying. I woke up afterwards, and I was like, what the hell just happened? He's like, I took you to the other side. He's like, for a second, but you're not ready to die.
You didn't choose.
And I thought I was gonna die of cancer. And he's like, you're not gonna die. You have a lot to live for. And that moment changed my life. I don't know if I believe. I was super skeptical of it, and I like cried. But he like, it was my dad in heaven, which is crazy. But he like, I had to like go there, and like it was beautiful. Like heaven was white, and I felt like rivers and waters. And when I came out, I said I saw colors, and he told me it was the chakras. So can you explain
Makes
like
sense,
the
yeah.
color? Like lavender was healing. There was like different colors I saw, and I didn't see all of them, but I only saw a few of them.
Yeah, well, it's the richness of our soul. Our souls contain everything. It's like a hologram of all of existence. So we've been the stones and the trees and the animals, and so the stars and the moon, like that's all within our being, our consciousness. And when you aren't just limited to who we think we are and our identity, when you experience that death, you finally see that. So you're not alone. You're not even, you know, who you think you are. You're everything. And that's why living is, you know, living because life wants you to live. It's like you're part of the deal. You don't want the tree to die. Right? So it's like nothing wants you to die either.
So when I have like, I woke up and I'm
You know?
overwhelmed. I'm like
You're seeing
overwhelmed
everything.
by, I take too many projects on, and I feel like my time on earth is short, because I don't know if I'm gonna die, because I could get cancer any day again, because I don't have a cure for my cancer. So I'm trying to get out of my head and not think like that. So when I wake up, I'm like, okay, take a deep breath. I just have today. Like, I could die in the car, like Ken said, on my day to work. I may never die of cancer. So why think about that anymore? Like,
No.
I'm gonna just start living today. And if I don't get it done, I don't get it done, right?
Right.
I'm not gonna kill myself over paperwork, and it's
It's brilliant.
yeah. And I don't have the anxiety like I had when I saw you. I could barely breathe.
Right.
I couldn't. Like, we can't. We had built sticks, and we were burning like negative people in my life. And he told me to get cats, so I had cats all over my house. Remember that?
Yeah.
Burn it. Sage it.
Yeah. Little processes here.
And he put feathers on me and like did some shakers.
You know,
Was
you're
there-
never alone in this life.
Yeah.
There's always somebody there. Even if they are on earth,
Right.
there's always somebody there.
But what do you?
But you got to believe it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was say, what do you tell someone
You gotta believe it.
who doesn't feel that? Like someone who's just gonna, like, tomorrow, this is the last day. I have no life left in me. I have no friends. I'm just saying. And like, how do you get that person to believe?
It's really hard. The I would say the first thing is you have to believe in yourself and be able to move ahead. If you doubt yourself, and that's what you seem to have is more self-doubt.
I do a lot of self-doubt. Even though people tell me, I just like, why do I have self-doubt? Like you said, you know.
Well, nobody's perfect. Everybody has a little bit of self-doubt, and a little bit of this, and a little bit of
Some
that,
people
right?
are.
We're all human. We're in the theater, right? But it's like you just don't
I
let
should
it.
have a little bit.
You don't let it.
So I have to
control you.
believe more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Believe the universe. Like I'm put on this earth for a reason, and I have a purpose.
You have a purpose.
Right.
You know,
So even if you don't know your purpose,
right.
Yeah.
It'll come out. And it's coming out.
And that's what it is. You got to give it time. Got to give it.
Can't force
that
it.
person who, as you said, has nobody or anything. You've got to say at this moment that may be true, but if you just wait, if you just believe right in yourself and believe you're not alone and believe, you know, there's a purpose and you know that there's this part of you that wanted to live and still wants to live, then you just wait, and then you see friends show up and you see opportunities. You see like what happened when you were walking in the girl in the police and
oh yeah,
you know, I mean in that moment
That was
she was
amazing,
probably
right?
thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm alone, I'm being
She was crying,
arrested,
yeah.
and there you showed
she didn't know
up.
how she was gonna eat that night.
Right, and you
Yeah.
both enriched each other's lives, you know? And no, you never would have guessed that was gonna happen
Never.
3 minutes before.
Nope.
So you just, that's the thing. You may not in this moment know anything, and you
And
may.
I didn't even have the money, but I gave her
Right.
$400. So I
Right.
got her hotel. I was like,
Right.
she needs it more than I need it.
No, it was amazing,
Yeah.
right? And so you may feel self-doubt in this moment, but if you wait a few minutes, something will happen. And you go, I'm good. I'm
Like I'm the kind
amazing.
of person that I want things now. I
Well,
want them to
that's
happen
what the
now.
problem is.
gratification.
We don't give time a chance. We gotta let time work for us. That's another shamanic concept. Is just wait.
It's kind of hard to push time.
It is. It's hard to push time. It's hard to push
But I think
creation.
Emily
it's
and
hard
I
to push
are
God.
the same thing. We push time a lot that we shouldn't do.
We're kind of the same.
We're kind of,
Oh yeah.
We're both
There you go.
stubborn. You stubborn?
yeah.
I'm stubborn.
Well,
too.
it works in some cases. To be successful in your business, you've learned to do that. But
Well,
you've
see,
got to
you-
separate those two. You separate business from life. And you go,
Yes,
okay, in
that's
business
true.
I push time. In life, I've got to wait. I've got to just let tomorrow and the next day and the
I
next
feel
day.
like my business is my life. So that's a good.
Yeah, so
Like,
you got to
how do
separate them.
I don't know how to do that.
Well, you learn to do it.
I need more.
It's like me. There's John, the shaman, that you call my business. You know, it's sort of like
Shade.
Yeah.
I'm show up for people,
Getting
and
hot.
then there's
All the way forward. Now.
John when
I-
he's
I-
when he's
all the way
John
forward.
when he's not working, and John when I'm not working is
Dad, Dad.
careful.
That thing flips
It's-
over.
it's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's the deal.
Oh, she
Yeah.
Well, we'll wrap that
That's
up for a
good.
minute.
Here.
That's all
Yeah.
right.
And then maybe
this
we'll
is
do
fine.
some fun like shakers in a
You
second.
see, it's gonna be.
I'm gonna get Ken some water.